and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost.
Join us in the heart of personal transformation with Level Up Circle TV, your exclusive gateway to unlocking your inner potential and achieving extraordinary results. This TV show is your secret weapon for personal and professional development, packed with valuable insights, expert advice, and real-life success stories. Are you ready to take the leap and transform your life? Don't just watch, participate. Tune in, take notes, and then take action. The journey to your greatest self starts here. So, get inspired, get motivated, and get ready to level up. Join us and let's embark on this transformative adventure together. Click that remote and let's start making your dreams a reality. Hello, everybody. Guess who's our guest today? You see that? That is our guest today, Crystal. We are on episode 3, season 1, and we are going to be talking about Strife to Thrive, right? Crystal, if you don't already know, she has gone through a lot. And basically, what we're doing is making sure that you guys know she is not only a phoenix, but she's an amazing sister. All right. So let's go ahead and go through our information. Why am I feeling echoey? I'm feeling echoey. Do you guys feel echo? Like someone's talking to me of the same thing what I'm saying? Okay, so here's the thing. When it comes to domestic violence, the CDC basically said 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men have experienced physical violence, sexual violence, and stalking by intimate partner. We're not even talking about the world right now. We're just talking about the US. 1 in 3 female murdered victims and 1 in 20 male murder victims were killed by their partner. So, what I'm going to tell you is that if you are still in this event right now where you're feeling triggered, or if you are experiencing trauma currently, or if you have experienced trauma in the past, I want you to join us, but I also want you to be aware that there are conversations and talk today that might trigger you, so just be warned. But our goal is to keep us learning and moving forward. Okay? So, are you guys ready? But before I do that, let me highlight my sisters here. Hold on. QR code. Tossie Brands from Janice Shokrian. If you want to be on my TV, that's the QR code. And then, of course, my sister Susanna. That is the armor of God. And if you want to get a hold of Crystal, that's her QR code for LinkedIn. Are you guys ready? Let me see if she's ready. I want to make sure she is good to go. There she is. Welcome. How are you?
Hello. I am living the dream. Whose dream? I'm not sure yet. I'll get back to you.
All right. Well,
doing
go ahead and
wonderful.
introduce
Glad to be
yourself to
here.
us.
My name is Crystal Behe. I'm known as the Crystal Phoenix. I am a domestic violence survivor, and I also am a coach for recovery and speaker, and also co-author of Rattled Awake Volume 3, where I speak about my journey and what woke me up to leave and get out of my relationship. And I basically give a voice to those that don't have it. They feel that they don't have one at all. My relationship. And I basically give a voice to those that don't have it. They feel that they don't have one at all. And I basically give a voice to those. For some reason, I can't hear her all of a sudden.
Because I mute myself.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm hearing echoing. Okay, so
There we
what
go.
I
Now I
wanted
can
to
hear
do
you.
today is most people know your story about your issue with domestic violence and in the past.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do today is move past that. And we talked about victimhood, right? There's going to be two things we're going to be talking about. But
Absolutely.
learn to love yourself after trauma is our topic today.
Yes.
And just because you're moving ahead, just because you got out of that trauma, doesn't mean you still don't carry it. You carry it forever.
Yes, you do.
But what I love about your story is that learning to trust yourself is a big deal. A lot of people think, oh, it's not a big deal. You just keep doing what you're doing and move on one step at a time. But there are steps that we need to take in order for us to get there. Can you help us learn to trust ourselves again after trauma, Crystal?
Absolutely. But really quick, I would like to say a quick hello to a couple of very special people that are watching. My eldest daughter, Caitlin, is watching on YouTube from Miami. Love you, baby girl. And my mom as well, Danielle. I love you, Mom. I know you're watching. And as well as Matt's granny. Thank you for joining us as well. I'm so excited that you guys have joined to see what's going on. So, and of course, my sisters, Susanna, and Dr. New. I love you guys. Thank you for coming out to support. And Lonnie, everybody, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for coming out to. Yep, there's my baby.
Oh, hi, Crystal's baby, Caitlin. Oh, we love you. Thank you for supporting. Wow.
She truly is too. She's actually my stepdaughter, and she has chosen me over her biological mother and father. So I did something right.
Yeah, right. And that's part of growing up. Is I feel like we're still growing up, right? It doesn't matter if you're 50 or 60, you're still trying to grow up.
Absolutely.
And having a support system who believes in you, I feel like helps your journey to healing as well.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
a big
talk to
part of
us
it.
about talk to us about the tools that you use to learn to trust yourself.
Well, well, first off, you know that feeling in the pit of your stomach when you meet somebody that's just off, but you don't know why, that just gut feeling when something bad's going to happen or whatever. Learning to trust that feeling again. It's also in reverse too. When you mesh well with someone, you just get a great vibe when you meet them. kind of like how I felt when I met Matt, actually, even though I was a little tipsy. But it started a beautiful 2-year friendship and now 3-year amazing relationship. You know, um, I got lucky when I got out. I had my best friend who had my back. And well, eventually, like slowly, we fell in love and now we're together, you know. And having that support system helps to be able to gain retrust too. You know, you have to put yourself out there. That's the first part in learning to trust yourself and your gut feelings. The people that you cut out, reaching out to them, like your family and things like that, because they help you remember that there are good people in the world that you can trust and rely on, even when in your darkest hours. I pushed my entire family away because, well, he made me. And when I finally got out and I called my mom in tears and I told her everything that happened, she was like, babe, I'm proud of you. I'm here. How can I help? My sister, my stepmom, Tracy, Katie, we had a nice long talk after, and she supported me and told her dad off. Ironically, it was quite funny, actually. But having opening myself up to that allowed myself to start trusting again, because I realized, hey, there are still people that have my back that I can trust. And that's that first step of being able to trust yourself again too. Is first you got to get the support system around you, because trusting your gut, I still question myself in decisions at times. So it's having that support system that backs you up and they're like, no, you're good. You do that for me all the time. With encouragement and, just being stable, because we all have bad days. Another way is writing it out, journaling, or talking to someone that you trust, and telling them your story. Because a lot of times I did not trust law enforcement or any of it, because they've always failed me. And I wasn't wrong in this one as well. So I had no trust in the system. But I did trust that the people that knew, they had my back. And that helped me step forward and start relying on my gut feelings and my trusting that, okay, I am going the right way. I am moving forward in the right way, and listening to those gut feelings instead of just ignoring them.
I love that. Support system. I can't even hone in more of that and like really take it and hammer it down, because it's super important, not just on domestic violence, but your daily, right? I'm grateful that I have Susanna to bounce ideas in the, during the day, throughout the day, throughout the night. I have my sister Danielle. I don't know if she's watching right now, but
And Nicole.
yeah. Well, yes, Sis
And
Nicole
Nick,
is always there. Yeah. She's working though, so
I know.
I get her only on weekends most of the time, or like late at night, or she'll text me early in the morning. But I do have supportive sisters. Susanna is one of them. Definitely, I talk to her every day. Obviously, Sister Christine Jones, and of course, our sis Nick, and we support each other no matter what we do, and we're never busy enough not to talk to each other. So that's one thing I love about our friendship. You're always going to get people in between that will help you. My next question is, our episode is about exploring the power of self-compassion, right? The first thing that I want to talk about is self-compassion. A lot of times the victim or the person who's affected by the domestic violence is
We
hard on
blame
them.
ourselves.
Yeah, you're like, it was my fault. I did something to trigger it, or I deserve it, or all of these, and it compounds, right? Because it's 95% of our daily is basically subconscious, and 5% is only conscious. So subconsciously, if you're always thinking about it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault.
Why wasn't I good enough? Why couldn't I make him stay? Why did he cheat? Why, if I had made dinner faster, he wouldn't have broken all the dishes. I insert here. Um, yeah, self-compassion and learning to forgive yourself for what is needed, and also forgive, even forgiving your abuser. It's not for them. It's for you, so that you hold on to that anger and hatred. And I want to say a very special welcome to one of my biggest cheerleaders, my big sister, whom I love dearly, is watching, and she said, "Bravo, Sandy." Has been a huge cheerleader for me through the journey of becoming a coach and a speaker and everything. And I'm so thrilled that she's here. I thought she wasn't sure she was going to be able to make it. Yeah. So I'm so excited. Thank you, Sissy. I love you so much. And I love you, Mom. And yeah, I'm sorry. It just made my day that she was able to make it for the live.
Don't be sorry. Do not be sorry, because these are the people in your support system that helps you heal. Every
Yeah.
day you're talking about it and you're brave enough to share your journey. Not everyone can share their journey. Not everyone is given the time of the day to even share their journey, because it's that self-conscious of, I'm ashamed to talk about myself and the decision making that I did. But in reality, you're actually brave because you're helping others realize their full potential to get out of their situation. As we speak here today, as we sit here today and talk about it, there are still so many men and women who are still in this trauma, right? In this
And
nightmare, really.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the mental abuse is worse, because that's gradual. They peck at it and peck at it little by little. Because when you first meet them, the narcissist, or just the person that abuses you either mentally or physically or both, they gaslight, and they find out your likes and how you feel and like all the good things, and they boost you up and they boost you up till you let them in and you become like enamored, and then they slowly break you down to where you have no self-confidence, and you wonder, how did I fall for this person? Because you forget that in the beginning they weren't authentic, they weren't their real self, they were what they wanted you to see, they were what you wanted them to be. They That's what it was. And so it's not like that you need to forgive yourself for falling for someone when they weren't real. You didn't know that they were going to turn into a monster. I mean, it took for the true monster to come out with my ex. Started when I was pregnant with Lulu, our youngest. So we were together for 3 years before the true monster started to emerge.
Wow.
And yeah,
Well,
and it
how does
progressively,
practicing self-compassion play a crucial role in the process of healing and learning to love oneself after the trauma?
because by being compassionate, realizing, hey, I'm not stupid. I am better than this. I made mistakes. Some of the abuse was brought on by me because I didn't want to know if he could be that monster towards my children. So I'd see him starting to get mad, and I'd pull the fight to me. I'd pull his anger and his attention on me, because I didn't want to know if he could hurt them the way he did me. So yeah, I'm at fault for some of them. Katie can vouch for that one because I did it for her a few times. She was 13 and hadn't seen her dad in years. And well, you put a Cuban Italian girl raised in Miami with a Leo who likes to drink and party too much, and they're both bullheaded because they're both Leos. Yeah, I would deflect as much as I could because she was 13 years old. She was just becoming a teenager. Yeah, of course she's going to be defiant. She hadn't seen her dad in years, and then all of a sudden she's moved from Miami to no man's land, Iowa, where there's nothing. Of
Yeah.
course, it's gonna be.
I don't know. Yeah, Miami and Iowa, different planet. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
even different
So,
state. It's like different planet. Yeah.
and
Wow.
it was a complete culture shock. And, I did my best. Matt told me later on that he would sneak her candy bars to share with her and her sisters when he would come over. Like, he'd have like lollipops and like, what was it, honey? Kit Kats and stuff to split
Oh.
and things like that. And Reese's and things like that, So, I mean, even without me knowing, Matt had my back. I mean, and my
You are
kids.
so lucky. You're
Yeah.
so lucky to have Matt. Because oftentimes when you're, well, people and society calls us the people who are, you know, in that path is like, oh, well, you're damaged goods. No one will want you. That's another thing that I want to talk to you about, right?
That's
When
one of
people,
the things that like my ex always would say to me, nobody's going to want you after I'm done with you. Nobody's going to love you. Who's going to take you after me? And it's like, really? Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
me,
And
myself, and I'll take me.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my
It's like,
God. Oh, Caitlin
I love
said
you.
the only good thing out of that year was meeting my mom and sisters. Oh,
I love you,
what a
Katie. I
sweetheart.
actually called her
Oh,
right before I did the live. I was like, okay, why am I putting so much pressure on myself for today? And she was like, Mom, you got this. You know what you're doing.
yes, you
She's like,
got it.
you're good.
I
you know?
wanted to read what my sis Susanna said. Definitely need to forgive, to let go of the guilt feelings. I dealt with verbal and emotional abuse, feeling it was all my fault, and then a life of death by 1,000 verbal cuts.
Oh, Susanna, I have said that exact phrase 2 or 3 times, Susanna. Um, because they will berate you, and and when you tell them how you feel, they flip it on you and make it like your feelings don't matter, don't exist, like you're wrong for feeling that way, and it's not true. And that is a big step in moving forward, is realizing, no, you have every right to feel however you feel. We all have that right. If something hurts you, you should be allowed to say, hey, that bothers me. Could you not say that? Matt used to tease me a certain way, and at first it was cute, and then I was like, okay, babe, but kind of bugs me, and he hasn't done it since. That's a respectful relationship, you know? Unless you're being a butt.
I love the little echo that he says. Can you share some practical strategies and exercises that individuals can do in their daily lives, really, to promote self love and
Um,
resilience? Because you have done that.
yes. Well, one of my biggest ways to promote self-love is I have a music playlist, because music is how I've almost always like expressed my feelings. And like, whether I have an angry playlist, I have a playlist for every mood. Katie knew not to come in the kitchen if I was playing MSI, because that meant mommy was mad. you know like there were certain things you like throughout, like certain playlists. Everybody knew, okay, she's in a bad mood, let go that way, or she's in a good mood. But I have built a mental health playlist. Number one on that is the song "This Is Me" from The Greatest Showman. um, Number two is "Speechless" from Aladdin, from the live action, because I refuse to go speechless ever again. And that's why I do what I do. Um, and then another one is also from The Greatest Showman, From Now On. Um, you know, from now on, I'm going to focus on what matters: my family, my mental health, the people that actually were there for me at my darkest hour. Go back to the basics. I
So I'm gonna recap. The first thing you basically said about learning to love yourself after trauma is learning to trust yourself by having self compassion, by journaling,
very much.
having a really good support system, and like open up. It's okay to open up, right? And go back to the people who you actually shun out, during the whole ordeal of your 3 years of hell, really.
Mhm.
And have a playlist and tell people
Um,
around you this
and
song, stay away from me.
pick a
I'm not
hobby, a
the mood.
creative hobby, whether it's music or art. I I paint. I love to paint my phoenix. This is actually an easel, but I until I found truthfully telling my story and talking to others has actually been the most healing like for me than any of it. Then, I mean, yes, I have my coping skills for my anxiety and things like that. EMDR therapy was amazing. It's not for everybody, it's very intense, but getting in with a good therapist, a good support group are all keys to rebuilding yourself and rising from the ashes. But honestly, being able to tell my story and feel like I have a voice again is the best way to actually build yourself, rebuild, and realize I'm not silenced anymore. I won't lie, the best moment I had was when I had my moment in front of the judge and I was able, when he was being sentenced this last time, I finally, after 4 years, had my voice heard by the legal system and he was the one silenced. And that was probably the second best healing moment for me in the world because I was the one talking and he couldn't say anything. Whereas every other time, I was the one that kept being silenced and I refused to be silenced anymore. I will not go quietly anymore and I will give a voice to every person that needs it because it is not right. Nobody should have their
I'm
voice taken.
glad. I'm glad you took control over your life, but how do societal expectations and external influences impact an individual's ability to love themselves, especially after going through traumatic experience, right? Society has we it's a double-edged sword. I feel like when you share your story, there are those who support you, and then there are those people who doubt your healing process, right? How do you
Doubt your
manage
healing,
that expectation?
doubt your healing process, or even doubt that you're telling the truth because of a million different reasons. Um, well, there's always the stigma of, well, why did you stay when he started? Or why didn't you leave when it started to get bad? Why? There's a million questions, and people look down on you. Statistically, people who are in domestic violence, it takes 7 times statistically. Now, it only took me twice to fully leave, thankfully. But I learned one thing when it came to that I should have learned from the beginning because I kept trying to I help him, become a better person. I didn't want to be with him, but because of our children, I, would try and help him. And I realized that no contact. Cut it off. Let the courts deal with the children, like visitation and things like that, because that brings your mental health down and societal expectations. People think, oh, you left, you should be fine. You should be good. And it's not that easy. I When I first got out, you couldn't close a door hard without me having an anxiety attack because of how he would be. He would slam things, he would punch things, he would do everything he could to scare me. You're muted.
I had to yell at my bulldog. He's going crazy again. they always do something bad when I'm live forever. Like that's crazy. We did have a little bit of conversation also on um, you have to want to stop being a victim at
Yes.
one point or another. Can you explain to me a little bit about that? I feel like that is not only your self-compassion commitment to yourself, but it's
Mhm.
one of the hardest thing that some of the people who are in this situation have an issue.
And actually, a lot of the ones that keep going back and keep going back, part of it's the fear, and part of it's they like the pity. They like the, oh, poor you, because they feel, you know, acknowledged in a way. They get coddled by people, so they'll play the victim forever. You know, oh, I was abused, I was hurt. Now, yes, trauma sucks, and like you said, it stays with you. I have bad days. I still have anxiety attacks at times. I won't deny that. You know, but at the end of the day, I refuse to be a victim. I am a survivor. I am a phoenix, because I don't like the term survivor either. I feel it's a little derogatory, but at the same time, that is who I am. I am a survivor. I got out, and I refuse to stay in that victim state. And I stood up, and I'm moving forward and showing my abuser and everybody else, I can survive. I can do it without you. You don't control me anymore. I took my power back. And the ones that that stay in victim mode, they don't want to take their power back. They want somebody to coddle them. They want that poor me sympathy all the time. I'd rather have someone stand by my side and encourage me to keep going than go, oh, poor you, I'm gonna do this. No. Tell me to get off my ass and go, do something. Get out of that mode. Yeah, I went into poor me mode for about a week or month, but there was a lot going on. But at the same time, I started to move forward. I started to have a voice. And then expose happened. And like I said, telling my story really empowered me. And I just keep doing it because it empowers me and it helps. And if I can help one other person rise from the victim state and realize that they can do it, then what I went through was worth it.
I love it. I love it because right now, your journey, literally by showing up, just showing up and sharing your story, it opens so much door and opportunities for you to grow. Um, I keep pushing you like, Crystal, go out there, do it. And you're like, no, no. I'm like, yes, you can. Let's do this. And you did. You listened and you did. It's because
Kicking and screaming, like I said in the book.
all right, seriously. But wanting to stop being a victim is easy said than done because sometimes people can't get out of their heads, right? And they stay in the victim role because they keep blaming themselves of what's
Yes.
happening. But
When
to
it's not
me,
their fault. They're not the monster. They're not the
no.
ones that did it. They, yes, in some cases, they allowed it. Like I said, I would deflect his anger onto me, you know, so that he wouldn't take it out on my girls, including Katie, you know, because that's what a mom does, you know, that it's ingrained, as a mom, you're a mom, you understand. You do anything to protect your kids. It,
Yeah,
and
you do. That's true.
and so I did. It didn't, you know, I I took it because I didn't want my babies hurt. And that was it. So I did
I
what I
love
had to
it.
do. And
Because that's self-awareness. You're aware of what you want and what you don't like. What I want to capture is the moment that you were still in it and the moment that you decided enough is enough, what took that next step?
he had just gone to jail. It was either Father's Day or right before. And my little Mackenzie, she was 6 turning 7 at the time, looked at me and said, Mommy, it's okay if Daddy hurts you as long as he can come home. My heart stopped. I hit my knees and I grabbed both girls in my arms and I said, "Oh no, it's not." And that was that. I was done. I was not going to be in a relationship with him. He was not going to let my girls grow up thinking that they had to be subservient to a man or a woman, whichever way they want to go. I don't judge, you know. But no, they they are going to grow up knowing that they are worth it, and they do not let anybody put their hands on them or berate them because they are better than that. And I was better than that, and I just had to remember it. My dad did. My dad raised me, and so did my mom and my sister. They all raised me to be empowered. So the fact that he was able to just about break me, but he didn't, because I was able to stand back up and finally say no.
I
That's it.
love that.
Mhm.
Self-awareness is key, and I'm seeing that. And the next one I'm seeing is personal accountability. And you're like, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm not taking anymore. I'm done. And you actually technically have emotional regulations. You regulated your emotions instead of staying in that anger, I'm defeated mode. You took that anger out and said, you know what? I'm walking out. Now let's talk about celebrating any success, from there moving forward, because I'm sure your life was not even close to where it is today right after that. How do you celebrate success when you're
Um,
still at that stage?
honestly, any day I didn't have an anxiety attack was a win. Matt was pretty good about helping me with that. He was pretty indulgent. I mean, I've got all kinds of like fun stuff for my music, my art. You know, he brought me home to Florida for the first time in over 10 years. I was able to see my sister before she passed away because of him. Um, which was amazing to me. It really was. Um, and honestly, I celebrate little wins by, playing funny music or watching a movie, or I will admit I have a guilty pleasure. I like to watch like the little Vietnamese and like the little Asian dramas on Facebook and YouTube. That is like my guilty pleasure. So like when I feel like I have a win or
Present.
um, I also, Matt has gotten me to start playing video games again, and I have a few games that are definitely just like, why do you play these? Because I do, you know? So those little wins I take, or um, Matt and I will sing goofy songs and just goof around. I mean,
I love
just
it.
relaxing is celebrating a win. Honestly, having not having to look over my shoulder, and wonder why,
Yeah.
you know that's a win. I mean, on here, I for Monday, it's just little reminders: smile, laugh, love, sing, dance, play, rest. I'm perfect in my being imperfect, because that's it.
I'm
Nobody's perfect.
perfectly imperfect. Yep, I'm gonna agree with that too. Let's go.
And
Sia
that's
said,
it.
truthfully, I have a really hard time with knowing my boundaries when I'm with someone who is in that victim state. Yeah, because some of us didn't grow up that way, and some of us never experience it, and that's why I love having this conversation. Is to educate people that if you are still in that trauma, if you are still living the hell that you're living, and you're watching this TV show, there is a way out, and
Absolutely.
Crystal's way out might not be your way out because it's customized based on your needs, and that's why Crystal is here in this
Yeah.
conversation, because you don't want, I mean, it's not that you don't want, but any help you can get is better than none. I'm saying I feel like the people who went through the trauma, the people who went through these experiences are the best people to ask help from, because they're the one who actually went through this journey. Like if you ask me certain things, I can give you a general idea. But because I didn't live through the ways, Crystal has lived through,
And that is her superpower, is the ability to see things in a different way, in a different light than I do, because I have not experienced it. So if you ask me, yes, I'll give you some answers, but it's general. But if you ask Crystal how to get out in certain situations and what she did, it can't be captured in 45 minutes of conversation. And that's why you need to make sure that you actually go and ask Crystal for that. And don't judge people when they're in their trauma, that they're not good enough for anything, or they're not good enough for your brand, or they're not good enough to have a conversation. They're people. Everyone is good enough to have a conversation, and you should just be lucky that they're even having a conversation with you and they're opening up with you, because they don't have to, and they did. And see that my thing is going, because my bulldogs are thinking it's just time to play while I'm on live. So apologize. The
One
negative
of the,
energy transfer is real.
yes.
Yes. It's basically when they are triggered themselves, when they're like in their little mode. I've seen my friends where, we would go to their house, and then all of a sudden her husband's like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden he starts yelling. And I'm like, did he drink again? What is happening? Right. And then, of course, we slowly exit the door. And
Yeah.
then what I usually do, I tell her, like, hey, by the way, don't exit the door. Just take your friend with you. And that's what I'm always thinking, like, take the friend with you to go. And they're like, oh, okay. Let's just, and I'm like, hey, I need help on my car. And I literally take her on my car, because I didn't want her to stay in that mode of like anxiety. She gets jumpy. If anyone raises their voice just a little bit in our friends, she would jump and she would stop. I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. It's because of that feeling that she's doing something wrong, when literally they were just talking.
Yep.
um Here's what I'm gonna also ask is, how can survivors of trauma redefine their sense of self and embrace a positive self image as part of their healing process?
That one, I'm still working on. I do positive reformations. I'll look in the mirror and I will remind myself that I am beautiful. I am strong. My scars do not define me, whether they're the mental or my physical. Like, I will just list 5 things that are positive about myself, you know, and I just do it every day. you know I also give, like, list 5 dreams or 5 goals. I do a bunch of positive, like, things. My therapist had actually taught me that, and I loved it, and I have my clients do that as well when they're trying to rebuild themselves. 'Cause it's like, you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't see who you really are anymore. You see what your abuser put in your head that you are. And so when you finally start to overcome it, whether you got out or not, and you start to get your wanting to get yourself back, what I tell people is to take a real look in the mirror, ignore everything else, and think about who you truly are inside. What are your best qualities? And I tell them, ask your friends what they think the best part of you is. Most of my friends tell me it's my compassion, it's my, big heart, things like that. Um, and all of everybody, it's like the fact that I want to help people and things like that. And that helped. That's how I started. And like you said, not everybody's as lucky as I am to have a Matt, who was by my side through it all, you know, who was constantly telling me, you're beautiful, you're smart, you can do this, lifting me up when I needed it, because especially since I've turned 40. He teases me that I'm old, but at the same time, it is in good fun, because he's 7 years younger than me, but it's always in good fun. And laughter. Laughter is the best healing. Besides being able to feel like you have a voice and being able to just unload it all, laughing. Laughing at yourself is actually pretty healing too. Being able to laugh at yourself and be silly and, make a mistake and laugh about it. instead of being in fear that you're going to be hurt or yelled at because you messed up. You know, you spilt a drink, or, cleaning it up, you laugh. Oh God, that was so silly.
What?
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I know I'm a klutz.
That's me too. I sometimes go and I'm like, what? I think it's genetics because I have my youngest daughter. She's like that. She's very, my oldest, I'm sorry, is very klutzy when she moves. She's like, I got it from my mom. And it's hilarious when they do say, things like that. But here's the thing, age doesn't really matter. It's more of the experience because I've seen people who are 85, didn't do nothing in their life. And that's just it.
My
And
mom
right
just
now
turned
you are
80,
helping people.
and my mom just turned 80 and is so active, and it's amazing. I swear she's going to outlive us all. I really do.
I know my great grandma
Um,
died, I think at 101. And she was like cleaning the house even at that age. It was crazy. And I love highlighting, conversations that we can learn from. So I want to recap before we end. Um, Learn to love yourself after trauma. From strife to thrive is what we're discussing today. I want you guys to know that just because you are out of that event of your life that you want to forget, you also have to look at the opportunity that it gave you to learn about yourself.
yeah.
Learning to trust yourself is all about self compassion. It's, you got to put tools like journaling. Crystal has a music. You need a good support system. Obviously, a
Grab me a
man
pen.
who believes in you or a
Grab me a
woman who
penny.
believes in you. Yep. And then the second thing is you have to want to stop being a victim. Yes, you can stay in that victim role. It's hard to get out, but want to is the key word. And self-awareness is the key. Personal accountability, having emotional regulation, and celebrate those successes no matter how big or small they are, right? And reaching out to someone who basically you shut down the very first time because you didn't know what's happening and you probably were hiding it because you didn't really want to do that. The last thing I want to do is I wanted to ask this question actually is how can survivors of trauma redefine their sense of self and embrace a positive self image as part of their healing process? Because I'm sure you sometimes think differently about yourself going through it, but also the
The
part of
self
the
doubt
healing
is always
process is
there. Why
seeing the
wasn't I enough? Why wasn't I enough for them not to cheat? Why wasn't I enough for them to be kind? Because you are so brought down that, honestly, the song "This Is Me" is the best way to redefine it. The lyrics from that song, I wish I could just pull them up and post them. But the lyrics from that song is really what helped me embrace a positive self-image. I mean, the song, it says, "I am brave, I am broken, I am bruised, I'm scars, but this is me. I'm beautiful, I'm glorious, I deserve to be loved." And whether or not you believe it in that moment, if you just tell yourself that every day, it's almost kind of a fake it to make it in a way, but you keep repeating to yourself, I'm worth it. I'm better than that. I do deserve love. I deserve friendship. I deserve all of it. And you will start believing it. Those positive bleh. You know the word I'm looking for.
reinforcement.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. But especially with my new tongue, um, you know, they actually do eventually. They will sink in. I also encourage, getting like a pet or something, like, to comfort. I've got my Cinny, who is spiny and cuddly just like me, and then we have our cats, and um, animals can be actually great comfort. I encourage women also to take a self-defense class. Join a gym and take like a yoga class and a self-defense class. Um, I do boxing on my VR along with dancing. Because especially if you're physically abused, gaining that strength, learning to defend yourself, it does help empower you. It helps you get back your self image of you're stronger. It helps, it does help a lot, and I encourage ladies especially to take a self defense course anyway, you know, especially like from teens, especially, just because I think the world is a wonderful place, but there are those dark places. And yes, Ollie, Krav Maga self defense, absolutely. You
Yes.
know, kickboxing, whatever. You know, just something to take your power back.
Get
Um,
a hobby too. I think
yeah.
hobby
Mhm,
helps heal any type of
mhm.
trauma.
Yep.
And just because you're not with a partner who abuses you, there are those partner not necessarily physically abuse you, but we also have sometimes friends who take advantage of us and our downtime
Yeah,
and
yep,
are
I
not
had a
very
lot
nice
of
with their
those.
words. You got to keep up with those types of
Mhm.
friends and
I had
right?
a
Like
lot of those.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
we don't need negativity from our friendship, especially if you're healing, because some of our friends are toxic, and they say one thing in your face, but they say another behind your back. So you gotta watch for those
Yep.
people also, and
Mhm.
those type of people really are not your friends, but they're just there to wallow and try to pity you and put you down.
Or
When
my favorites are the spies.
Oh, right. Oh, man. Especially if it's their friends too, that happens to be your friends as well. And you're like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, no, we're
Yep.
done with this thing, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. What did you say? Mental
Yeah, when it comes to the self-defense
engagement.
classes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Krav Maga is really good self-defense. Israelis actually use them in their military system. So yeah. But watch out for friends who, pull you down and when you're
Mm.
trying to get up in that hump. So any last minute message before I let you go, Crystal?
Honestly, know that you are worth it, and if you are in a bad situation, reach out to anyone that, you feel safe with, and make a plan, a safety plan to get out. Like you
Hmm.
said, everybody's situation is different on how to get out. So forming a plan to get yourself and your family safe is the first step to getting out, because you want to do it safely. I was lucky. He was in jail. I was able to get out because he was already locked up, you know? So I got lucky. But not everybody's that lucky. A lot of I've had friends and clients that got thrown in jail for defending themselves where their abuser stayed out. Excuse me? Because the guy had a scratch on them. Girl's got a black eye, but she's the one in jail.
The
No.
system sometimes does not is not on your corner. So you got to make sure that you
Mm-hmm.
are, like you said, prepare to um,
Yeah.
have that battle of your lifetime, right?
Prepare to have a safe exit strategy and a safe, you know, in case he does decide to he finds you. You always have a safety plan first and foremost. And like I tell my clients, all they have to do is text me the word Phoenix and I will send help. You know, just one word. Because sometimes that's all they can do.
I love that keyword. That's really
Mhm.
cool. It's like a secret message. I love it. And watch out for the people who are fake in your life
Absolutely.
because it's not part of your healing process and their words means a lot to you because you put so much emphasis on your friendship, but some of them are not very good friends and not very good support. Some of them are family members, right? And so, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you being here and sharing your story and
Thank
giving
you.
us, you know, ways to not only move on and have that trauma from being on strife, but now you're striving to love yourself and love again. So, I appreciate you so much. Have a fantastic day today and thank you for being here.
I love you, and thank you everybody that came, especially my family. I'm amazed and I'm so happy that you did come, and all of my LinkedIn family, you know I love you all. Thank you so much, and thank you, Dr. CJ. We'll talk later. Hugs.
Yes, hang on for a minute and then I'll be right there. Thank you. Guys, that was so amazing. Thank you so much. This is my last thing that I wanted to tell you is that embrace yourself with the same kindness you offer to others. For in the sanctuary of self love, you find the strength to bloom. Keep that in mind. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. See you guys next week. And I think next week, oh my God, it's Thanksgiving. So see what we're doing for Thanksgiving. We have a special event, and I'm hoping all my sisters will be here. We're going to talk about turkey and how to uh, not sleep with the tryptophan from the turkey. Bye, everybody. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.